I was born in 1930, which was the beginning of the Depression era. By the time I was born, my parents already had 7 children, and after me came 2 more. I was born on a farm, and we grew things like cotton and corn and cows, hay, and all the children in the family participated in the farming. We, from early age on, we all had particular jobs, or all of us worked whatever jobs or whatever needed to be done. So we grew up that way. When I was 7, we moved into a large old farmhouse that was, part of it was built before the Civil War and was logs. And then there was some additions to that. And for the first time in our lives, we had upstairs, and we loved that. We had 2 bedrooms upstairs. There was no electricity, no running water. In one of the bedrooms, my 4 sisters and I slept and lived. In the other bedroom, my 4 brothers. Soon after we moved there, my one brother, Joe, went away to college. And so there were only 3 boys living in that bedroom. There was a bedroom in the downstairs, and my parents were in that bedroom. We went outside to the bathroom. It was a chore because we usually had a feisty rooster or a feisty gobbler who would chase us from the porch to the outhouse every time we went. Or we had a couple of brothers, if we were in the outhouse, were always throwing rocks at it. So it was an experience to get to the outhouse and back without being mauled by that kind of thing. But anyway, by today's standards, our living was very meager. We ate what we grew on the farm, and usually on Sunday my mother would kill a chicken on Saturday, and that would be our Sunday dinner. It was at lunch, at the middle of the day, and after we'd all been to church and back. And so that was the only meat we probably would have had during the week. But we had vegetables and really what we consider now excellent food, but then we would have loved to have had more fried chicken, which we did not.
So you didn't have a refrigerator?
We did not have a refrigerator. We had an ice box, and every Thursday the man would come with his pickup truck, and we would get a 50-pound block of ice to put in the ice box, and that would keep the milk cold, and the butter or whatever had to be kept cold. Very little. There were really no leftovers, because we always ate everything every day. Whatever was there, we finished it up. So there was no, and probably I may have had 2 or 3 dresses. My mother made all of our dresses. I never had a dress bought until I was probably way up in high school. She made everything. And every Monday, my mother took all the sheets off the beds, washed them all, and put them back on, because we just had one set of sheets for each bed. And then on Tuesday, she ironed, and she ironed, putting her iron on the wood stove and keeping it, and she had 2. One would stay on the stove and be getting hot while she ironed with the other. So that was the wash situation. It wasn't until we had electricity, and I was about 14 or 15 when we had electricity. And everybody in our community were contemporaries of ours. They all had the same living situations. They all had large families. So nobody felt deprived.
So you-
Didn't have a clue we were poor.
Right.
We knew we had no money. You know, we knew what we had, and we knew that the children living in the little town had more than we did. But it didn't matter. We didn't feel at any time. I did not. I don't think anyone else in the family did. I started school when I was 6, and I only went to that first school 2 or 3 months, and then we moved. So I went to a little 4-room. It was 4 rooms, but it had a little auditorium in the middle of the 4 rooms, and there were 2 grades in each classroom, and there was first grade and second grade and third and fourth and all the way through the 8th grade in that little tiny school. We had no electricity. We had no running water when I first started school there. We had a well out back of the school and a bucket of water and a dipper, and every child in the school drank out of the same dipper. We just told. And up on the hill on this side was the girls' outhouse, and over here on this side was the boys' outhouse. And the teachers could teach if they had gone to a junior college 2 years. So most of our teachers had no more education than a junior college education. And most of them were country girls who were nothing like as educated as our mother. So basically, what education we got in grammar school in particular came from home, where we were read to. We had lots of magazines and books and things that other children weren't privileged to have. Of course, my mother was better educated than anybody in the community. So,
Why do you think she was better educated?
well, she lived in New England where they had better schools than they did in the South. So that was what the grammar school was like. Yeah, and my first experience with riding a bus, a school bus, was just a flatbed truck with a body built onto it, and it had just had a row of little windows and benches. So everybody sat on the bench on each side, and there was a bench down the
So you
the
got to
middle.
school on a school bus every day.
Yes.
Didn't you say your dad drove a school bus?
He did in high school, when we were in high school. By that time, we had regular school buses. I think it was probably in 1946 or 7. I was trying to remember because it was the same year I think Isabel and Billy married. Anyway, it was one morning, it was pouring rain, and the school bus, he picked up everybody in our little farm community, and then we went into Louisville to high school. And there was a child, a little girl, and I wish I could remember how big she was, but she wasn't very big because she could stand upright in the front of the bus. And she was walking along the side of the road, and he stopped and picked her up and asked her to stand in front, at the door, kind of. And she did. And we went on about another mile till we came to the town, and we were going to turn right, and her school was left. Of course, she went to a segregated school like we did. So she got off and walked down to her school. Well, the next morning, he picked her up again, and he did that for, I don't remember how many days, until people found out what he was doing, and I don't remember. I think I remember that Woody was one of the people who, my brother Woody, was one of the people who came to Daddy. I remember them coming. It was 2 or 3 or 4 of them, I don't, and told him that he had to give up the bus because he was picking up the little black girl. And knowing my father as I did, he probably called him a few